everyone, welcome to my first video on my YouTube channel. My name is Isabella Damai, and I'm not sure how many people are actually going to watch this, but for my first video I thought I'd come on here and kind of talk about modeling, talk about my experience and like how I got signed to my dream agencies and like that whole process. And I'm 15 and I'm signed to IMG worldwide and Wilhelmina in Chicago. So I don't have as much experience and like as much I could tell you guys because I am so young and only been modeling for like a year and a couple months because I started when I was 14. But I do have like some funny stories. I can tell you guys my experience and the whole process on how to get signed and how I got signed. And like I said, I started when I was 14 and in Michigan, which is where I currently live. And I started off with a mother agency called DMM, and like what a mother agency is a smaller agency that gets you signed to bigger agencies. So it's a more like local agency that works with you and develops you to getting you to like be signed to those bigger like names and bigger agencies. And so I started off when I was 14. I went to an open call. I wore like the typical model outfit, like all black, tight clothes, and natural makeup, natural hair. And I don't even think I wore actual heels. Like I wore wedges because I didn't even know how to wear heels. I was 14. And so I showed up and I pulled up in the parking lot with my mom and I literally started seeing all the models walking in and told my mom to go home because I did not believe in myself at all. I didn't think I was gonna make it and I ended up making it. I took digitals with them, which are like, again, tight fitted black clothes, no makeup, natural hair. And they submitted those out to agencies and I say and so much, oh my god. I was in Florida with my parents for vacation and my whole family, and we got an email from my agent Dawn saying that like I had a couple agencies that wanted to meet with me in New York and Chicago and like all these places, and I was so excited. I remember just my parents were asleep and I got up and shook my mom. Like I checked her phone because I saw that she got an email and saw that it was from my agent, and I shook my mom and woke her up and started screaming. So once we finally got back to Michigan, we talked with my agent, like we met her up at Starbucks and just kind of went over the whole process because I was so new to it. I remember we got that email about meeting with agencies like maybe a month or two after being signed, so like not long at all. I didn't really know what I was doing. So she just kind of went through what was gonna happen, what I wore, like what I'm supposed to wear, what, like no makeup again. Just like basically every time you have a casting or anytime you really have to do anything with modeling, you show up with no makeup and like natural. We set it all up, we talked with her, and then it was finally time to go to New York and go to Chicago. And so first we went to Chicago and I met with like 3 agencies. I met with Ford, 10 Management, and then Wilhelmina, but not in that order. It was Ford, then Wilhelmina, then 10 Management. And I remember going to Ford because they were the first agency I had to meet with of the day, and they took my height, took my measurements, took new digitals of me, got to know me, asked me some questions just to see what type of person I am. And then when it was time to sit me down and tell me if I had made it or not, they let me know that I was too young to be signed because I was 14, which like is understandable. I was so young. But that was like my first rejection ever in modeling. The first time someone had like told me that I didn't make it or like it was a no. So I was obviously a little bit upset, not mad, but just it was my first rejection, and not only my first rejection, but my first time meeting with agencies, and it was the first agency I met with. So like that kind of like brought my confidence from here like down to here for the day. Like I was very nervous and didn't know if I was gonna get anyone to sign me because of my age. I remember I called my agent, I told her my like concerns, and I was like, I don't know if anyone's gonna want to sign me. I feel like I might have come here and I'm not gonna get signed by anyone now. And she let me know that like I still got this and I have to give up on myself, like keep my confidence and not give up. And so I didn't, and I went to the next agency. So I met with the next agency of the day, which was Wilhelmina, which is which agency I'm currently signed to, and I met with Nicholas, who's my booker now, and he was so welcoming and just made the whole thing, made me so much more comfortable and like relieved. And I was just like, okay, maybe I got this one. And he talked with us, talked with me and my mom, let me know that I had got the contract and that he was gonna offer me a contract, which I was so happy. And I remember my dad was I don't know what he was doing, but he was outside. He didn't walk in with us, and when he walked in, he like looked in the door, like peeked his head through, and he was like, is it yes or no? And we were like, yeah. And we were all so happy because we didn't know what was gonna happen for the rest of the day, and we were so relieved and so happy. And I remember walking out and I was so proud of myself, and me and my mom walked out, looked at each other, and just screamed. I really hope they didn't hear us, but we screamed. And then we went to the next agency of the day, and they ended up offering us a contract too. And that third agency I met with actually gave me so much good advice and so many tips I took with me to New York. Told me to have confidence in myself, because that will show them that like I'm ready to do this and like I believe in myself. Advice like know your favorite model, know your favorite photographer, know your favorite magazine, like stuff like that, because they're gonna ask you questions to see like if you're really involved in this and interested in this, and to see if you know your stuff, because if this is the industry you want to get into, like obviously you should know like certain things. And just told me to be a very friendly person and interesting person to talk to, because yes, be professional, but it's okay to make jokes sometimes and be lighthearted. Like it doesn't always need to be professional, because the whole point of their conversations is to get to know you as a person. There's so many model material type of girls and like pretty faces, but if you aren't a good person and aren't friendly and like welcoming, then what does it really mean? And like you really aren't model material then. But that was my last meeting of the day. So after that, I went back to my hotel room, got some rest, and then in the morning came back home to Michigan, got some rest at home, and then that night I had to leave for New York again because I had one day in between. And oh, this is where the story gets good. Okay, so from the airport to my hotel room, we had to take a cab. And this was my first time in New York, and it was my first time in Chicago too, when I visited Chicago. So I was enjoying the view and like looking out the window and looking at the buildings, because I had never seen it all before. And New York is so busy and there's so many people and so many cars that they have to pull on the brakes a lot, right? Okay, so he pulls on the brakes and my whole entire face just smashes right into the window. And I remember like looking down and just seeing blood go like coming out my mouth into my hand. And like, I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to make a big deal out of it. So I just started laughing. Like I just laughed. And my mom's looking at me like trying not to freak out, but you can tell that she's freaking out because she wanted to keep me calm and like not stress out about it and not worry about it and like get me worried for the next day, because I had to meet with agencies that next day. I have pictures, so I'll insert pictures right now. So those pictures were like a couple hours after it happened that night when I was trying to go to sleep for the next morning to meet with all these agencies. And because I had to meet with like, I think 8 agencies that next day. So what had happened when my face hit that window was my tooth. I was scared that I had lost a tooth. Thank God I didn't lose a tooth. But when my face hit that window and like hit my cheek, my tooth like almost went through my mouth, like went through my lip. And thank God it didn't, because that would have been so much harder to like hide. And I would have had like a big scar on my lip. It was very, very bad situation. I just laugh about it now, and like I was laughing about it at the time, but like deep down I was so worried that it was gonna affect my meetings the next day. But I just iced it that night, and then in the morning when I woke up, I iced it again. And obviously like my whole goal was to be signed with IMG, because IMG is the biggest agency in the world and like every model's dream, and it was my dream. And I remember when I first started modeling with DMM, like just in Michigan, I had watched a TV show called Making a Model by Yolanda Hadid, and like the whole thing was the girls were like competing for an IMG contract. And I remember showing my mom IMG, and I was like, this agency is like the biggest agency in the world. Like imagine if I could get signed to this agency. My mom was like, why don't you submit pictures to them, or like ask Dawn to submit pictures to them? And I like looked at her and I started laughing because I thought she was kidding. And I was like, Mom, they wouldn't even look twice at me. Like there's no way I could ever get signed to this agency. And then that day I was meeting with them. So like my heart was racing. I was very nervous. But again, my first agency that day rejected me, and I was so disappointed. And it was like Chicago all over again. I thought no one was gonna want me, no one was gonna sign me, and that it was all over and that my dreams were all over. And I think I got rejected by like 2 agencies that day, and they both like the reason they told me was because of my age. But the funny thing is that the first agency that I met with in New York was Wilhelmina, the first one to reject me. And it was Wilhelmina in New York, because I'd already signed with Wilhelmina in Chicago, but it was Wilhelmina in New York. And then later down the line, Wilhelmina ended up offering me a worldwide contract. So in the end, they ended up offering me a contract, but just for the day. It was like my first rejection. So I didn't know they were gonna offer me a worldwide contract later down the line. But in the moment, since I didn't know it was gonna work out in the end, I was so disappointed and didn't believe in myself again, and thought that everyone for the rest of the day in New York was gonna reject me. And so I left the agency, and my mom, I was so lucky to have my parents there and have them there to support me. My sister was there too, because after every agency, my mom went in with me for like every meeting, and my dad and my sister would go and get Starbucks or something, or like wait outside the door. And like I would walk out the door and they could just tell by my face if I got the contract or not. And if I didn't, they just helped bring back my confidence and like lift me up. So I met with the next agency of the day and they ended up offering me a contract. And every single agency I met with, for me at least, told me that day if I got the contract or not. So I didn't have to like wait and stress out about it over weeks if I got the contract or not. All of them except for IMG, because IMG is a worldwide agency, meaning they have agencies in like Paris, Milan, Sydney, Australia, LA, New York, and London. And so they have to check with like all different branches of their agency to see if they want to sign someone or not. So I had to wait a little bit. I think I waited like maybe 3 days for that. So I met with agency after agency that day. And again, I went in with my mom, which I love because my mom is such a jokester and she's my best friend and like she's so easy to get along with. So it was easy to like talk to these people and like show them who I am with my best friend sitting right next to me. And like she made it very easy and lighthearted and very like easy for everyone to talk to each other. So I love you, Mom. But then it was time to meet with IMG, and you can already imagine how nervous I was to meet with IMG because, again, it's every single model's dream to be signed to IMG, and it was my dream, and I didn't even think I could get this far to even get a meeting with them, let alone, like, end up being signed to them. So I went in with my mom, and we walked in and waited at the front desk and took some pictures by the IMG sign, obviously for Instagram, and then met with 2 of the agents at IMG, and they just kind of asked me some questions again, got to know me, and this is where the advice from that third agency in Chicago really helped because they asked me who my favorite model was and I answered with Taylor Hill, and like they just asked me questions to get to know about me and questions about the industry, and they ended up actually giving me Taylor Hill's comp card. I think I still have it. It's literally right over there. But yeah, I still have her comp card up in my room, and I did the same thing I did at all the other agencies. I took pictures, measurements, height, looked through my portfolio and all of that. And honestly, if you don't, I was so new to it and I had taken some pictures to put in my portfolio before I came. So I had like a good amount of pictures in my portfolio, but even if you're new to it and you only have like a couple of like pictures from a couple photo shoots, I don't think it all depends on your portfolio and like how many pictures you have in your portfolio or how professional they look. I think it's just if they like you, they sign you. And obviously they want to know that you can pose and that you're like, you can be natural in front of a camera, but I don't think it all depends on that. Like, it's not the only thing they look at and the most important thing that they look at. And sometimes agencies will make you do a runway walk for them, which is just to get a feel for how you walk in heels, how comfortable you are, and just to see if they can see potential, which again, it's not the most important thing. I didn't know how to walk. I still don't know how to walk. I practice and I still don't have it down, so it's not something to stress yourself over or something to worry about if you don't have it down. Like, yes, practice it a little bit before you go, just to show that you have made an effort into it, but it's not the most important thing. And there's just small basic things you need to know. It's not as hard as you make it in your head, and once you take off all the pressure you're putting on yourself, it's so much easier and so much less stressful. And like the small things you need to know are just don't wear makeup. Like, I know in your head you think it's gonna make you look better, but they wanna see how you look naturally. It's okay to put on a little bit of concealer and like curl your eyelashes and put on a little bit of mascara and a little bit of chapstick or lip gloss, but do not show up with a full face of makeup. I promise you, you're doing yourself way more harm than good. Like, they want to see what you look like natural and see your natural beauty. Anyways, just show up with tight fitted all black clothes just so they can see your body and see your figure. And I've seen some girls in the past show up with like dark skinny jeans and dark leggings with like a white t-shirt, so I guess you can do that if that's what you prefer, but I would suggest all black just because that's what I've done in the past and what I've seen most, and it just makes you look like taller and like more sleek. But anyways, just show up very natural, like natural hair, natural makeup, a very simple outfit because you don't want anything to take away from your look and like your face. So literally just wear a tank top and leggings or like a tank top and dark jeans. Like, I can insert a picture right now of what I wore. So again, I just wore a tank top and leggings. Just look very put together. Like, have your nails done and painted, but nothing too crazy and distracting because again, you don't want anything to take away from your look. So don't do a super bright color or super long acrylics. Just do like something nude, like beige or like light pink. And I cannot stress this enough. If you have sensitive skin like mine, just don't wear makeup like the week before you're supposed to go in, because my skin doesn't break out a lot, but when I wear a lot of makeup for like a long time, I can get very like textured skin, and you don't want that. You just want to look very like natural and very glowy and very like, you just want to look your best. So just don't wear makeup. And I get it, if you're going to school, you want to look put together. Just wear like some mascara. Just don't put anything on your face that you know is going to make your skin break out. Because what would you rather have? Look good for school or look good for an agency that's like your dream to sign with? And again, just be prepared. Show them who you are. Don't be nervous. You've got this. Just have your facts down. Know your favorite model. Know your favorite photographer. know your favorite magazine or like your favorite shoot you've seen. And know your stuff about the agency. You don't need to know like all your facts, like how many models they have or like all their measurements. You don't need to know all of that. Just kind of have a feel for like what you're getting yourself into, and like have a feel for what agency you're walking into and who they represent and what they represent as an agency. And don't be afraid to ask questions. This is your future and your dream. They won't think you're super nosy or obsessive just because you're asking questions. If anything, they'll like it and like that you want to be a part of the whole process and like that you want to know what you're getting yourself into. But anyways, guys, just be super cautious and know what you're getting yourself into. Never pay upfront for an agency because that is a scam. You should never have to pay for modeling. The only thing you will ever really have to pay for is like maybe a website fee and for a couple photo shoots to get yourself started and some test shoots. But you will never have to pay to be a part of the agency. That's a scam. But my DMs are always open if you guys have any questions or need any advice. I'm gonna put my Instagram right here. Literally just DM me if you guys have any questions. And I hope this video helped if you're trying to get into the modeling industry or you're already in the modeling industry and about to meet with agencies. I've had so much fun with it so far, and I'm so lucky that I get to call this my job. I've already done so many cool things. I'm still so young, but I've already had so much fun with it. I got to work with Makeup by Mario, who's Kim Kardashian's makeup artist, who is one of my idols, which is so crazy to say that I can do that now. And I would have never thought I could have done this a couple years ago. So honestly, if that's one of your dreams and something you want to do, then try it and believe in yourself. And don't let anything anyone says get to you or make you not believe in yourself. None of that matters if it's your dream. Okay, I should probably end the video now. I've been talking for so long, but I hope this helped, and I'm going to be making more videos in the future. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and thank you guys so much for watching. Bye!